Does Godzilla vs. Kong live up to the hype? What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing Godzilla vs. Kong, the latest movie in the MonsterVerse. The epic next chapter in the cinematic MonsterVerse pits two of the greatest icons in motion picture history against one another. The fearsome Godzilla and the mighty Kong, with humanity caught in the balance. It's safe to say that I have some thoughts on this movie, but before we get into the review, definitely hit the like button. Comment your thoughts on the movie down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle on it? I'm curious to have a discussion, as I feel like this video could spark some controversy. So I actually binged the MonsterVerse movies leading up to this with Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, and Godzilla King of the Monsters. I'll have a ranking that comes out later today, but it's safe to say this movie had a lot of hype going into it. It clearly did. It's Godzilla vs. Kong, two titans duking it out on the big screen, which I actually watched it on my 65-inch TV here at my house, as opposed to the big screen. I still think it was a good enough experience. I had a nice sound system, everything set up. Massive letdown. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. First of all, it's a movie called Godzilla vs. Kong. Do we see Godzilla and Kong fight in this movie? Absolutely. You saw it in the trailers. You know this movie is going to have those action sequences. Now, I think the movie has a lot of time spent with human characters. That's a fatal flaw of this entire MonsterVerse, in my opinion. But the fatal flaw in this movie is, again, the weak characterization. Now, a lot of people will go on Twitter or social media and say, you're missing the point. You're not supposed to care about the characters, the human characters. It's all about Kong and Godzilla. And to that, I have to say, I understand going in, that's the mindset I had, but when you spend more than half the movie focusing on lackluster human characters yet again, I'm going to be disappointed, and that's the case here. There's no real plot that intrigues me from start to finish. There's no character arcs for anyone that I love from start to finish. Now, going into this movie, if you just want to see some action, you're going to get that. You will not be disappointed. There's definitely epic action in this movie. But for me, I'm someone who likes to have a story that accompanies that action, and the story was very lackluster in my opinion. I didn't care about many of the characters, and honestly, the performances weren't that great. I'm not going to pinpoint any singular actors, but the performances were just very meh. I'd be lying if I was saying the visuals weren't stunning, because they're absolutely gorgeous, especially sequence that looks kind of like Pandora from the Avatar movie. It's a really beautiful sequence, and I think Godzilla and Kong look so realistic. It's amazing to me that we can continue to push the boundaries for CGI. I can only imagine where we'll be in 10, 15, 20 years, so that alone, it warrants a lot of acclaim and praise right there. The visuals, I think it should get nominated for an Oscar, honestly, for visual effects. The score as well, I did enjoy when it would kind of flare at times. It added to some moments to try and make them more epic. Yes, it's visually stunning and gorgeous looking. It's got this nice score to accompany it, but it's very predictable. I was watching this movie with my friend Trevor from Film Geeks via virtually, so we had the movie synced up, and we were predicting as it happened. We actually predicted what was going to happen in this movie 2 days ago. We said, this is what's going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. Now, a lot of people will say as well, this movie is cheesy. It's self-aware of what it is. To that, I have to say, I'm not so sure about that. It knows it's a big monster mash movie, and I get that. Then why does it spend so much time trying to get us to care about these human characters? Because I don't, and I never will in these MonsterVerse movies until they give me compelling characters, which they have lacked through the entirety, except Kong Skull Island. I think there's some moments to shine in there with character development. But here it's I don't care. These are clearly just vessels so that we can get to set up the Kong fight. But you spend so much time on them, it makes me feel like I should care about them. Now, the Kong vs. Godzilla fight, I'm not going to spoil, by the way, so don't worry. But I will say that's probably the highlight of the movie. But even then, your movie's called Godzilla vs. Kong. I thought it was going to be a little more epic. I'm a little disappointed by the fight, I'm not going to lie. An issue that I have is it falls victim to the common trope of movies that surround verses in the title, if that makes sense. I won't say anything. You guys can infer. That's all I'm going to say. I'm very lightly treading here. When you set up in marketing, oh, are you team this or team this? The outcome is usually the same in those types of movies, and it's just unfortunate that that's the case. I'm aware that this is a monster movie. It's unrealistic as hell. There's no way these people could ever exist in real life, these beings, these titans, or fight. Is it cool to see them fight on screen? Yeah, it is. But why should I care? That's a question I have to ask. I have an issue, honestly, with Godzilla and this entire franchise. I'm just going to be completely blunt here. I've never given a damn about Godzilla. I've really cared about Kong, though, especially in Skull Island and in this movie. He's almost at the forefront. Why should I care about Godzilla? It's almost like this. In the Planet of the Apes movies, the newer trilogy, there's human characters in there who are somewhat interesting, but think about how many scenes you have where it's just Caesar and the apes talking, especially in Dawn and War. Those are some of the best scenes in the movie because they build up those characters because they can be characters. I think Kong and Godzilla have the capability to be characters on their own, and it's the issue I have with the MonsterVerse is you could have scenes, 10, 15-minute scenes, Tell it visually, visual storytelling, where we can read these characters' emotions and get to know them. We get more of that with Kong in this movie, so I have to give them props for that. But Godzilla is just a character I have found lackluster throughout. I know that it's all about the scale and his action, but still, I really wish I cared about Godzilla. He's in the title of 3 of these movies in the MonsterVerse, and I've failed to really give a damn about Godzilla, and it's just unfortunate. It's the way I feel. I know he's this pop culture icon. There's a ton of hardcore Godzilla fans out there. Chris Hurtado, if you're watching, I know you probably love this movie, so I apologize. But by the time we got to some of the badass action scenes that were marketed and the really pull, the draw for the movie, I was almost exhausted as I had been waiting for so long with these human characters who were boring me, and that's a really big issue. With Godzilla vs. Kong, you want Godzilla vs. Kong to be at the forefront of this movie, and honestly, I don't think it was, and that's a big bummer to me. I know a lot of people out there are going to disagree, but here's another point that I have to make. With regard to the cheesiness and the self-awareness, I think a movie like Aquaman does it better. Aquaman is cheesy. It's dumb. People are calling this movie dumb fun. It knows what it is, and I totally understand where that argument is coming from. However, with Aquaman, where it is dumb fun, there's a character arc. You follow Arthur Curry and his journey, trying to figure out who he is, becoming the king of Atlantis. You see background on that character. With this, is it dumb? Absolutely. Is it fun? Sort of. I just don't think it warrants that self-aware title that many people are claiming it to be, because I don't know if it really lands. It doesn't stick the landing, in my opinion. There's no one to really latch onto and care about in this movie, unless you just care about Kong, which, I mean, Kong is like the heart and soul of the movie, in my opinion. But if you don't care about Godzilla already, I don't know why this movie does anything to make you think otherwise. Overall, I'm going to be honest, Godzilla vs. Kong was a massive letdown in my opinion. While we do get to see some cool visual effects and action sequences, it was a very predictable mess of a movie when it comes to poorly written characters and an overemphasis on focusing on these characters that I still don't care about. For some reason, they try and force the human characters down your throat in this movie. I think this will probably be the last MonsterVerse movie, and honestly, I don't know if I have an interest to see any more. I mean, I would do it for a review maybe, but I'm probably going to tap out after this, honestly, guys. I just wasn't a fan of this one. It was a really big letdown. If I had to give it a score, I'd probably go 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which would be like a 5 out of 10 on my regular scale. If you want to see just cool action sequences, you're going to get that at times, but you're going to have to sit through a lot of boring human interactions that really are messy. I don't see what the end game of this movie was if you're following it from a plot or story perspective, which is something I like to see in my movies. I like characters in my movies, lacking here. If you just wanted to see Godzilla vs. Kong, I definitely recommend checking this out. If you've enjoyed the MonsterVerse movie so far, definitely give it a watch. But to me, it was a massive letdown. That's my long-winded review of Godzilla vs. Kong. What did you guys think? Definitely hit the like button. Comment down below. Again, it's just my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with it. If you have that opinion that differs from me, I totally get it. I know a lot of people really do enjoy this movie. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out over time, I will say, because I think that, you know, a lot of people were hype and high on Wonder Woman 84, and it was also a Warner Brothers movie, and the hype's kind of died a while after that. So I think that, you know, a month, 2 months, 3 months from now, the reception of this movie could be different. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think of it down below. Stay tuned for more content coming soon. Falcon and Winter Soldier watch party and review as always, and a March Blu-ray haul. Thank you all for watching. Definitely hit the subscribe button if you have not. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.